Lost everything. My story began about a year and a half ago. My ex husband and I were married for 10 years. He is a good man, kind, caring, and our sex life was great. He's a nurse and always had plenty of time for me and the kids. I'm a VP at a small startup, so ex husband had a higher income. We live in California and nurses here make a quite bit, 6 figures. I make mid 5 figures. Anyways, my job requires me to travel 1 week a month, and my AP was a co-worker who came with me on his trips. The affair started about 2 years ago and lasted for 6 months. I have no idea how ex-husband found out. I can only guess he figured out my phone passwords, but can't prove anything as he denied knowing. After he initially found out, he hired a PI to follow me and the AP around. As soon as ex-husband confronted me, I denied and denied. He didn't say anything, just stared at me with cold eye. It was unnerving and eventually I confessed the whole thing. He was very cold and calculated. He had me served at work in front of everyone. He also had consulted with all the best family lawyers in our area, so I ended up hiring a second-rate lawyer. I lost almost everything in the divorce. The house we lived in was one we rented from his parents. He still lives there, in a house I decorated and built. Since I travel for work and he is the house, he has primary custody of the kids. I get them every other weekend and for 2 weekends in the summer. He pays very little in spousal support. It amounts to about $1,000 per month, so I had to move back in with my parents. The worst part is that I thought my AP would be there for me. He wasn't. As soon as everyone found out about us, he dropped me like I was nothing. I never felt so low in my life. He didn't give a shit about me. He hasn't been more malicious about it. Just said, I think we should stop seeing each other. And that was it. I desperately tried getting not back to my ex-husband, as I said. Our marriage was great. I was just bored. I promised I'd do the counseling, quit my job. I'd do whatever it took. He said that he wasn't a backup plan and slammed the door to our house in my face. He moved on. He's dating someone else. She's not younger or prettier than I am, but she's devoted to him. I can see it in her eyes when she looks at him, and he seems genuinely happy with her. The kids like her and she's good to them, so I can't really complain about that. I'm so lonely. A lot of my friends distance themselves from me. I guess they don't want to be associated with a cheater. All I do is cry. I miss my kids. I miss my old life. Most of all, I missed my ex. How could I have been so stupid? Second story. Love hurts so much and so deep. I have been with my partner for 3 years and we had an amazing relationship till my mom passed away and I have no other family left. So I went into depression. I kept going, but I was declining every day. My partner felt I was not being there for him, so he started cheating on me. When I felt something was not right, he told me he was talking to the woman to talk about our issues as a friend. No relationship is ever perfect, but I thought ours was as close as it could be. I love him unconditionally and committed for life. He changed so much since he started talking to the woman. He had so much anger for me. Started saying how I can't get over my mom and knew never going to love me unconditionally as my mom. I was so mentally tired and broken that I tried committed suicide, but thank God, I was saved on time. When I was at a hospital, he told me how much he loves me and he was being stupid, etc. I was thinking it was only emotional cheating. I believed him and tried to work on our relationship. But it didn't work much as we were still having so many arguments, and he was still telling how it was all my fault for him to do that. I took the responsibility, but he still didn't stop fighting. He would fight on small things and started to stay away from me for a few days, a week saying we are working on our relationship with distance. After months, I found out he had been cheating on me the whole time, even before my suicide. He was staying with her the times he said he is staying away to work on our relationship. It broke my heart into a million pieces, mind you. I was not just healed after coming back from the hospital. I was still hurt with my mom, plus hurt from our relationship. I had many nights crying alone, but I thought it was a test for my love and I need to give him space. I didn't share my feelings with anyone, kept to myself how deeply I was suffering. He says his cheating was not right. It was wrong, but then say he cheated as he was not in the right state of mind. Another day, he told me it was part of my fault and part of his mental health issues that he cheated on me. He says he wants to work on our relationship and do anything to earn my trust again. But then, I found out she was still in social media even after me asking over and over again if he had stopped all the contact with her. Finding that out again, I felt the pain even deeper and felt so devastated. How is it even possible for someone to do when he says he loves me and can't be without me? Doesn't matter how much I was suffering myself, but whenever he was down, I would just be there for him, as that's what we do for our loved ones. He's the only one I have in my life. Last find pushed me in total darkness, where I can push myself to even leave the bed all day and cry all the time because pain feels so deep and sharp in my heart. Due to long depression, I have anxiety and panic disorders. I get nightmares of my partner and that woman. I never thought my relationship could go through something like this. It was so beautiful and perfect and full of love. He says he wants to take care of me because I am sick and at a lowest point, but then he also made comments how I sleep all the time. I am not doing anything, and how come already not over his affair, etc. I didn't share anything what I was going through for months with anyone. Anyone. But one day, at my weakest moment when I found how she was still in his social media, and she was still sending him messages which he had deleted all. I shared our personal issues with one of our friends. Well, that's what I thought, that they were our friends. He found out recently they had to tell them. He was very upset and says, how dare I share that with them without his consent, etc. Now he is holding me accountable that it was all my fault that I told them. He doesn't take any responsibility that this whole thing started with him having an affair and cheating on me. On and on, after promising me how he won't. I had been depressed for so long and has no mental power felt to hold everything in me. When I try to tell him how he is able to put his actions on mental health, I take no responsibilities. But how he is not giving me benefit of the doubt that I was not in good mental state when I decided to share the info. She get upset that I can't just not take care responsibility of my actions by using his cheating excuses. I feel like he has doubled standards. He doesn't like to feel or think that he isn't anything wrong while he wants to take over the full control of things and situation by putting the blame on me that I told our friends. Sadly, and my bad luck, they were not friends, but they pretended to be. To be nice. I hate myself how I easily trust people and how I can't make us understand how hurt I am. Wife of a year cheated on me. Swears it was one time mistake and wants to make it work. Does anyone have any experience with making a relationship, marriage, work post infidelity? I know Reddit is not always most positive place, but I'm looking for any success stories regarding infidelity. My wife, 27, female of 1 year, dated 3 years, cheated on me with a coworker, and I, 30 male, wants to see if we can make it work. Sorry for the long post. This all happened last night, and I'm just trying to make sense of it. Like I said in the title, Reddit tends to be a place where people speak truth to power. And from browsing threads, the general consensus is that it'll never work and that I should leave her. However, I'm looking for anyone who has been cheated on by their spouse and has been able to work through it. I expect to hear plenty of once a cheater, always, and advise the lawyer up and ditch her now. I would really like to anything positive right now. Stories that tell me that I'm not being a fool and cad by staying with her. We started dating 4 years ago and got married last summer. She started a new job that she loves this year and met a lot of people at her job that are her age and on her wavelength. About a month ago, she left her phone at home and she got a weird message from a coworker that popped up on his screen. I opened her phone. We don't keep passwords from each other, and read these along. Snappy text messages from him and responses from her saying that she doesn't want to go see him because she doesn't feel like she can trust herself. My heart drops. I feel sick and immediately start asking her about this and instant messaging. She races home from work and sobs about making a mistake and that nothing happened and that nothing would ever happen. That she got carried away from the attention and didn't know how to stop it, but that is definitely over and that she wants to do everything to make the relationship work. I accept this and we find a counselor for her to go see and arrange for us to go to couples therapy. Due to insurance, we can only find a couple of counselors and have to wait a few weeks before going. She went to her first session last Friday and we are supposed to have our first couple session on Thursday. I went out of town over the weekend and came home to her complaining about an upset stomach and that she feels really sick. I try and make her feel better and then she starts sobbing and breaks down and tells me that she made a mistake while I was gone. I pry it out of her what happened and she tells me that she went into work over the weekend and got a call from the guy who was messaging her. She answers it and he says he wants to talk and they meet. They talk, he kisses her, she kisses back. He fingers her and then says he has a condom. He puts it on, sticks it in her, and then she immediately stops. Says she made a mistake and gets up and leaves. I get these details from her. I feel like an idiot because I saw something threatening to our relationship and couldn't manage to stop it. She tells me that she made a mistake and I blow up and start yelling and screaming and crying. I tell her to give me her ring and pack up her shit and go. But she freaks out and relented to let her stay the night on the couch. She says that the episode made her so sick, but also was given her great clarity about our relationship and how much she doesn't want to lose me and what we have. I believe her that it was a one-time thing. I believe her that she is a really story and that it won't happen again. I still achingly love her, but how can I continue in a relationship that I feel has been utterly violated? She didn't just make a mistake. She undermined the basis of our affection and trust in one another. She did something that not only affronts our relationship and history, but undermines my masculinity, virility, and sense of self. She did the most selfish thing that someone can do in a relationship, and now wants to work through it. She's made me feel mean and angry and hateful towards her. Emotions I never thought I could feel towards her. She seems to think that therapy will be a panacea for this, but I don't know if that will be enough. I've never been in therapy. I'll probably have to start to now. She believes that if we stick together, we can make this work, and that she has heard of tons of people who have persevered through this. I remain skeptical. So my question to anyone reading this is if they have personal experience with making a marriage work after infidelity. I am willing to make a stab at it, but will the feeling of betrayal and anger ever really leave? Is the relationship doomed from here on out? Is doing therapy and staying together just prolonging the inevitable? I realize that Reddit is maybe not the best place to ask this, but I am figuring out how I can talk about this to someone I know. I feel humiliated and don't know how I can tell anyone, family or friends, about this. If we do manage to make it through this, then she'll always be tainted in their eyes.